Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Eric with SweetSpotDFS, and this is my DFS preview of the 2022 ZOZO Championship. I'm going to go over everything you need to know prior to building your DFS lineups this week, and I'm going to do that with the bucket system, which is my way of analyzing the top 10 of this tournament for every year it's been played. So if you want to see where I'll be covering all those pieces of information, you can find timestamps in the description below. You can also find timestamps on YouTube's progress bar. But I'm gonna waste no time. I'm gonna get straight into this video, and I'm gonna start with giveaways. Now I have one giveaway that's called the subscriber giveaway, and a lucky winner will win $10. But I'm actually gonna up it this week. So in order to get a free entry into this giveaway, you need to be subscribed. You need to comment below, and the comment topic this week is which bucket are you gonna start building your lineups around? Just think of it this way: find one golfer that fits in any of those buckets. Tell me which bucket that is. I'm genuinely curious, because we're gonna go over anchor buckets this week, or in this video, as opposed to in the strategy videos like I used to. So give me your favorite bucket you're gonna build your lineups around. That gets you a free entry into this giveaway. And here's how I'm gonna up it. So we need to get to 250 subscribers in order for this giveaway to run. For every additional person who subscribes, I'm gonna add $1 to it. So it's really up to you guys. If you are one of those that watches this video and you're not subscribed, once we hit 250, I'm gonna run the giveaway during my review video. But if you all decide to subscribe, we can get this up to, who knows? Maybe we can get it to 270 subscribers, and then I would be giving away $30. So it's up to you guys how much you want to win. But yeah, every additional subscriber just adds to the pot. And if you want free entries into this giveaway, just participate in each of my videos. You get one free entry per video. So comment on this one. First of all, be subscribed, comment on this one. And then when I have my strategy video tomorrow, comment on that one. And also during my prize picks video, go comment on that one. Boom, you get 3 free entries. And if you want an additional entry, share it on Twitter. So you can get up to 4 entries. So let's get enough subscribers. Let's hit this goal. It's been 4 weeks we've been trying to hit this goal. Let's do it. I've given you guys some incentive. Let's do this. The second giveaway that I do is a prize picks giveaway. And this one's simple. Sign up with prize picks. I have a link in the description below. Sign up with prize picks using the promo code SweetSpot. Put a minimum deposit of $20 into it, you get a free entry. So far, last week, we had 1 free entry. He won easily. He was the only one, so he won $20. There was one the week before. He won $20. Currently, right now, because there aren't that many signups, you're more likely going to win $20 as soon as you sign up. And just to remind you, Prize Picks is going to match your deposit. So whether you put in $20, it'll match it. You'll have $40 to play with, and if you win this giveaway, it's going to be for free. You're going to play with $40 on Prize Picks for free. But you can do any deposit up to $100. Prize Picks will match your deposit, and you get to play with, discounted bucks basically. So again, super easy. Link in the description below. Let's get into this preview, and we're gonna start here. I told you we're doing away with tournament fact sheets. I wanted to create a sheet. This isn't final, but it's gonna work for this particular video. I just want to give you the spark notes basically of the tournament as well as the golf course. So this tournament, the ZOZO Championship, this was established in 2019. Now, it was a fall swing event in 2019, so it went towards the 2020 season. In case you're kind of confused, we only have 2 years of data for this tournament. It is being played in Chiba, Japan. In its inception in 2019, again, the 2022 or the 2020 season, it was played in Japan. But then last year, because of COVID, they canceled the Japan trip and went to Vegas. So really, we only have 1 year of course information or, course history, but I wouldn't really use that. That's not enough data to normalize anything. You can certainly use it if you want, but, manage your expectations. The field size is 78 players. There's no cut. Average winning score has been -21, but it was -23 at Sherwood last year in Vegas. Or no. It was played in California. My bad. It was played in California. That had a winning score of -23. Now in Japan, when Tiger won it in 2019, again, the 2020 season, he won it at 19 under. So 19 under, 23 under, obviously averages to 21 under. Again, no average cut, or there's no cut score, so there's no average cut score. No cut, I mean. This week, the strength of field is 241. Now, last week it was like 460 something. It's the same field size, but this is considerably weaker of a field. We do have some top 10 golfers in the field, including Colin Morikawa, I think Xander Schauffele, and did Will Zalatoris crack the top 10? Let me double check. No, he did not. So we have 2 golfers that are inside the top 10 of the official World Golf Ranking. If you take those golfers out, this strength of field kind of goes down to the Palmetto Championship last year. It goes to 180. So this is a very weak field. Now, there's only 78 golfers in the field, so I don't really know how to compare that to, but if you're going to do any data research or anything like that, and you have the ability to do it by strength of field, I have no problem with you guys doing anything between like 200 to 250. Doesn't matter what the field size is. It's all about, you know, the quality of golfers. And this week, -2 golfers, it's not that high. I have weather here. I don't want to spend too much time on weather, so we're just going to put it, you know, something like this. And usually I have a banner that's running down below. I'll do that during the prize picks video. It's not that important because there's no cut. If there was a cut, we'd want to see Thursday and Friday's weather, and that's what you see on the screen right now. 64 on Thursday, 62 on Friday. Winds blowing 5 to 10 on Thursday, 10 to 15 on Friday. Those pieces of information are more important the closer to the tournament. So I'm recording this on a Monday night. Yeah, it's not as important right now, and it's really not that important, again, because there's no cut. Moving on to the golf course information, we are at Accordia Golf Narashino Country Club. I think it's just Narashino Country Club for short. I'm not going to try to pronounce the architect. It's probably just Shinya Vegeta. And we obviously don't see him on the PGA Tour anywhere else. So trying to look up data based off that information, you're not going to really find anything. Now, it's a par 70. That's converted from a par 72. That's why the 72 is in parentheses. 7,000 yards. That ends up being like 101 yards per par, which is kind of low. It's on the low side of yards per par since I've been actually recording that. So kind of a shorter golf course. I will say this, when I did the course breakdown, which I'm not going to do in this video, very narrow. There were a few holes that were very narrow driving holes where it just looked like a thin strip of fairway with trees surrounding it on both sides. So accuracy might be a little bit of a premium here. I personally don't know. I'm not going to weigh too much into that. But yeah, I think that might be a tiebreaker type of thing. So pick the more accurate golfer based off a tiebreaker. I wouldn't so much go and just start searching for very accurate golfers, but again, it's up to you guys. It's just my 2 cents. We have bent grass greens, zoysia fairways. I'm not positive with the rough. I think it's zoysia, but you usually don't see zoysia in the rough. I didn't have very reliable sources, but I know the greens are bent grass and I know the fairways are zoysia. So really, when it comes down to researching this, again, putting stats when it comes to bent grass, and then approach, look at zoysia. I don't know what the rough is, so I can't accurately guess. But if it's zoysia, you can look up zoysia around the green stats, or zoysia approach is all that you really need. And I don't know if you can see that, but I also have kind of the shot dispersion, like what type of shot shape you need off the tee or on approach for, just the general numbers. If you can see it, I've kind of forecasted you wanted 4 holes off the tee to hit a draw on, only 1 fade, but then on approach we have 0 draw holes and 4 fade holes. So it really doesn't matter when it comes to shot shape. There's not enough to really go by, so we don't have to worry about any of that. All right. Going through all of that, I think the next piece of information I want to give you are grass stats. So we'll start here, and I'm gonna go with bent grass because 50% of these guys, or 50% of the shots for these guys, will be on the green or a little bit around the green. Now, on the green is bent grass, around the green it's going to be ZOZO, but I think we can still just look at bent grass. So here's what I have. I have your number 1 golfer on bent grass is Will Zalatoris. He only has 8 events to his name, so I wouldn't necessarily care too much about that. He's obviously a high quality golfer. 25% of his tournaments have been inside the top 10 on bent grass, so that's looking pretty good. And I mean, I'm not gonna fade Will Zalatoris for any reason. I think this is a good solid play to go with Will Zalatoris. Now, this is in Japan. Hideki Matsuyama is your 2nd ranked golfer when it comes to bent grass in the field. 33% mark of finishing inside the top 10. By the way, the Masters is played on bent grass greens. I mean, Hideki, I don't know if this is going to be a comfort thing for him or it's going to be a little awkward. I don't know. I'm also not fading Hideki for any of those reasons. I like this, seeing this on the screen, looking at this data. It helps me decide, we definitely like Hideki here. I think we should be playing Hideki. Same goes with Xander, Colin Morikawa. There's your 4 top guys in the field. Their strength of field score combined is 91. So 91 out of 240. That's almost 30%. Actually, it's over 30%, right? For doing our math. Yeah, it's over 30% of the strength of field goes towards those 4 golfers. I think you're probably going to find your winner somewhere here. You can see some of these other golfers. I'm not going to go through everything. Jimmy Walker is an interesting case study. Like, I don't know what to do with Jimmy Walker. If you've followed me during any of these videos, his Lyme's disease I'm a little weary of, and there's no difference here. It's just that $6,600 price tag is very attractive. It's a no-cut event. But with that being said, play him at your own risk. He might be a good value. Might be a diamond in the rough. I haven't heard anybody talk about him, so again, play him at your own risk. The rest of these guys, though, Sebastian Munoz, I really do like this week as well. He's just a really good birdie maker. I don't know if he can be accurate enough to not get himself into trouble, but I'm still gonna play him. There's no cut. I want my aggressive guys. I want guys who make birdies, so I do like Sebastian Munoz this week. But yeah, a lot of good golfers here. These are my top 20 in the field. So go ahead, screenshot this, pause the video, find your golfers you like, and go with that. I'm not going to spend too much on top 10 bent percentage. This is your success rate of finishing inside the top 10. You can see who the top 20 golfers here are. Bill Haas, kind of an interesting golfer to consider, $6,100. Now, the short story of Bill Haas, he had an accident where a family friend died. He was in the same vehicle as this person. I think a little bit of trauma kind of, played in his head throughout most of that season after and the season that followed. I think this happened like 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, or maybe time's flown and it could be 5-6 years ago. I think it's like 4 years ago. Here's what I got to say. Bill Haas has shown signs of life over this last 4 months. So I would say he could be a diamond in the rough, but understand the risk of playing him. But a really good, bent grass overall top 10, maybe not so much 2021 bent grass stats. So keep that in mind. And this also includes two tournaments this year. So this is the 2021 season plus the 2 events this year are all stats in this column. We have Jimmy Walker up there again, James Hahn, Sam Ryder, Matthew Neesmith. These are all interesting plays. Very cheap, very doable. So I would consider those guys. Let's go ahead and go look at the 2021 Bentgrass. Scott Vincent, 2 events under his belt. Obviously, you can see 31. That must be a 16 and what, a 48. So it fluctuates. I wouldn't really care about. I'm not gonna do anything with Scott Vincent, but other than these top guys, Wesley Bryan, those aren't bad stats, especially 2021, and he is a birdie maker. So at $6,000, that's another good diamond in the rough to consider. We have Sebastian Munoz up here again. I'm not really talking about any of these high price guys because I think that's just where they deserve to be. But again, pause the video, screenshot this. This is your data. This is your information you can use when building your lineups. I kind of went out of order. I went grass stats first. Let's look at past optimal lineups, and then we can go right into the bucket system from there. So if we go to 2020 and we look at our past optimal lineup, it used up $49,100, and it consisted of a 9,000 guy, 10,000 guy, 2 7s, 3 7s, and a 6,000. So this is kind of a, it's not really a traditional build, you know, like a 10 9 8 7 7 6, but it's pretty darn close. In fact, you could substitute out Billy Horschel. I mean, we had $900 to play with. So if we could find someone who was 8,600, which obviously we can't, but I mean, you could have built a lineup very, very similar. So this is really close to your traditional lineup build. The $1 GPP winning lineup left $100 on the table. It used a 9-3, 11,000, 7 7 6 7. That's a very similar build than what we just talked about with the optimal lineup. In 2021, so this would have been last year. Again, it's the 2021 season. The optimal lineup used $49,800. So if you remember what I consider the realistic optimal lineup, it's anything 49,000 and above. And I call it the realistic optimal lineup because how real is it you can build a lineup close to that salary? That's essentially what I mean by that. I don't think it's I generally I don't like the advice of leaving money on the table, and a lot of that has to do with what the GPP winning lineup ends up being. Most of the time, I'd probably guess somewhere between 30 to 40% of the time it uses up all $50,000 of the salary, the GPP winning lineup. And then when we look at optimal lineups, the amount of times that it's over $49,000 where it's not leaving a tremendous amount of money on the table, you know, anywhere between, you know, $100 to $700 usually, it's over 50%. So you don't have to leave a lot of money on the table. You don't have to get cute. So I want you to know, be real with your lineup building. Don't get crazy. Don't leave a lot of money off, on the table when you're building your lineups. And this is kind of proof, especially with the ZOZO. So in the 2021 year, you had a 9K, a 10, 8, 7, 7, 7. And really, that was really close to that traditional lineup too, where you had a 10, a 9, 8. I mean, substitute Griffin or Palmer with the 6K golfer, taking $200, $300 off the table, still in that realistic the range, but still, scoring pretty well. Because we could easily go like Lonto to Cameron Champ and gain 5 more points. Oh, I wasn't even giving you the optimal lineup. That's your that's the GPP winning lineup. I'm sorry. Your optimal was a 9, 10, 8, 8, 7, 7, 7. So it's still close. Still close. We could substitute the 8 up to a 9. We could substitute the 7 down to a 6 and still be pretty darn close. So 748 points for the GPP winning lineup and 756 for the optimal. So it was really close. It was within 8 points. So what was 2020? 593 to 569. So yeah, you're going to have to get to the optimal lineup in order to win this thing. Pretty darn close. So those are the only 2 years that we have any salary data, actually really any data. Remember, this was established in 2019, the 2020 season. I always have to remind people, like, I don't want you guys to be confused whatsoever, but either way, only 2 years of data, and those are your optimal lineups. So with that being said, I'm going to go right into the anchor buckets, and this is different than what I typically do. Like, I would just go over your top 3 buckets, you know, for each stat category that I have, and just leave you with that. I don't feel like that's any benefit, so let's just do the anchor buckets now, and then during the strategy video, you already have that knowledge. We can just get into lineup building and trying to come up with some of the better lineups that we can build. So I already have it filtered out. My one piece of criteria was my projection had to be at 0.9 or above. And how you can read this, again, just a quick reminder. Column G here is the maximum. So how many golfers do I want to select? That's my maximum. And we always round up. I'm sorry, I don't round up for you guys in these videos. I want to see the data, like, as it's raw. This bucket here is our minimum. And I know it's a high number, like 100, 300, stuff like that. What this number is for me is, out of 100 lineups, how many positions am I going to allocate for this bucket? So for this very first bucket, I'm gonna allocate 100 positions towards that, towards my 100 lineups. Maybe I don't build 100 lineups. I will adjust it accordingly. But if I did, I could spread it out and make sure there's one golfer from this bucket in each 100 of my lineups. Or I can kind of go up and down as I see fit. You know, I could put 4 golfers in one lineup, 3 golfers in another, and then have like 2 or 3 lineups that have 0 golfers from this bucket. You can easily do that. But when it comes to the minimum projection, move this decimal place over 2 spots to the left, and it will be 1.02. We always round down. So this first bucket looks at, it's a minimum of 1, a max of 2. So that's how it reads. And that's what I'm going to do with each of these buckets as I go down. We're not going to look at golfers from these buckets. I'll leave you guys to the research. Remember, the comment topic is, which bucket are you going to start with when building your lineups? So the very first one is easy. We're looking at golfers who finished last year at this tournament inside the top 20. Obviously, the range is 1 to 20. So whatever their finishing position, inside this range, we want somewhere between 1 to 2 golfers of that. The next bucket to look at, last year threes, that's that 40 to 60 range. And we also want 1 to 2 golfers from that bucket. And these projections are looking at strength of field. We're looking at the success rate of this bucket. And we're looking at how many golfers are in those buckets. Like, this one's easy. There's 6 golfers in that first one, the last year twos, that top 20 bucket. And there's 9 golfers in the last year threes. Because of their high success rate and also the strength of field within those buckets, we don't have to do a lot of work to find these golfers. There's just a small amount of them, so it's really hard. Let's just look right away at the first one. So last year twos, if I go ahead and I clear it out looking at last year twos, here are your golfers. I mean, it's a really good selection of golfers. You have Xander Schauffele, Joaquin Niemann, Alex Noren, Lonto Griffin, Ryan Palmer, and Sebastian Munoz. I have no issue playing any of those golfers. And you want to select somewhere between 1 to 2 of these guys. That's how the bucket system works. And if you need any proof, watch the review video I did yesterday for the CJ Cup. It was 100% correct. The anchor buckets were 100% correct. In fact, the buckets all together, all 36 of them, were correct when projecting them. And that includes, you know, minimums of 0 to 2. If there were 0, that included. And if we did go over the projections, that also worked out. So I'm a little flexible when it comes to what I consider successful, but usually I bounce it off of the optimal lineup numbers here. So if say our projection was 5, or let's see, where can I find a better one? Right here. So this would be a little unrealistic. We cannot fit 4 10K golfers in our lineup. Obviously, the strength of field is super high for this bucket. The success rate is super high for this bucket. That's why the projection is so high. I mean, we could have somewhere between 2 to 4 10K golfers finishing inside the top 10. It just tells you more how much you need that. But if you look, the optimal lineups, we've only seen one, a minimum of one. We've seen a maximum of one inside the optimal lineup. So you wouldn't want to play 2 of these guys, but you easily could. Like, it's definitely doable. It just might not be, well, I'll say this. You can get the optimal lineup that way. I'm not forecasting what the optimal lineup is. I'm just forecasting what these buckets are going to do inside the top 10. So again, that's our best. That's our best. What are we trying to figure out? Our best target. Trying to find 6 golfers to finish inside the top 10. They might not be. Not all of them might. Or geez, all of them might not be a part of the optimal lineup. But it's a good place to start. So, anyways, we got our first 2 buckets. Our next one are golfers who did not play last week, or I mean not last week, but last year. That is our number 1 last year bucket. And we're projecting somewhere between 3 to 6 golfers from this bucket. We have 55 of those golfers in the bucket this week. 35% of the strength of field goes towards that. On average, we usually just see 34. That's why those projections are pretty high. But yeah, I mean, you could build a whole lineup of golfers who just did not play last year at this tournament. Shifting into the last week buckets. So this is looking at 2021 and 2020 and 2021 seasons, seeing if playing the week before matters. And your number 1 bucket is actually golfers who top 20 from the week before. So that is a very important bucket. Now, we only have 8 golfers in that bucket this year, where we typically see 18, but we're still projecting 2 to 4 golfers from this bucket. So why don't we just look at that one too? It's a small bucket, really easy to find these golfers. And here you go. Here are your 8 golfers. Collin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, Ricky Fowler, Emiliano Grillo, Johnny Vegas, Chris Kirk, Robert Streb, and Harry Higgs. So you want to pick somewhere between 2 to 4 of these guys. So it's just looking more and more like Collin Morikawa, right? Or even Xander. But then we want to kind of fill in the rest. So it's going to be difficult. Either we select a 10K golfer, kind of jump down to the 8Ks, maybe even 9K, Emiliano Grillo. And I mean, if we think there might be 4, maybe one of these 7K golfers are in there. A good reminder, once again, although we're projecting that much, 4 golfers inside the top 10, if it's Morikawa and Schauffele as 2 of those guys, if Morikawa finishes 10th place, he still is inside the top 10, but that doesn't mean he's in the optimal lineup. So again, it's best to look at this bucket, kind of see what the optimal lineups were. And I mean, we've seen a minimum of 4 from this bucket inside the top 10 and 5. So having a top 20 finish the week before is a very big deal. Your next bucket is golfers who were in that 20 to 40 range in last week's tournament, the CJ Cup. So 1 to 2 we're projecting inside the top 10. Did not play as your 3rd bucket, and we're projecting 2 to 4. So these 3 buckets really make up the majority of our projections inside the top 10. Really close of projecting all of them. Like every golfer in the field from these buckets, not every golfer, I'm sorry. Inside the top 10 at the end of this tournament, we're going to see golfers from these 3 buckets. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Going to the next one, recent form 2s. This are just the recent form buckets. We have 4 of them to talk about, meaning it's pretty spread out, and that's a good thing, because basically what I'm going to say is find 1 to 2 golfers who have top 20 recent form, so their average over the last 8 weeks is inside the top 20. That's how this reads. There's only 4 golfers in that bucket. Why don't we look at that one too? Jeez. I'm giving you all the answers with, you don't even have to do any research. Wrong bucket. Which one am I looking at? Recent form 2s. There you go. Morikawa, Schauffele, Vegas, and CT Pan. We're projecting how many from here? 1 to 2. 1 to 2. You can either have a 25% chance to get this right or a 50% chance to get this right. You want to know what I'm seeing? Play Colin Morikawa. Easy as that, right? Makes sense. It's simple. That's really interesting. I mean, it does make lineup building a little bit easier this week. Recent form ones, 1 to 3 of those guys. That's that 20 to 40 range. So having good recent form coming into this tournament is a good thing. It's a very good thing. And then if you just have a little less of good, recent form, 1 to 3 is what we're forecasting inside the top 10 for golfers in that 40 to 60 range, and then did not plays. So brand new guys. We're looking at somewhere between 1 to 2, which is very interesting. Now, if I were to actually add this up, that equals 9. So of 10 golfers, we think 9 of them are going to come from these buckets. Now, looking at those last year or recent form 4s, we accidentally clicked that before, but we're looking at something like this. Golfers right here. You can see the most expensive guys, Takumi Kanaya. I don't know how I feel about playing any of these guys, but we're projecting 1 to 2. Wesley Bryan. There you go. There's your easy one. But we do have a bunch of Asian golfers that are playing. I don't know if these are all Japanese guys. The CJ Cup is a Korean tournament usually, and there were a lot of Korean invites, so it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of these guys were Japanese. I'm just not going to guess because I don't know the culture. I don't know how to look at these names and understand. And I don't have a lot of these updated. Anyways, here you go. Maybe Satoshi Kodaira. Obviously, he's been a good golfer. You can also look at the strength of field ratings. Takumi Kanaya, Chan Kim, Ryosuke Kinoshita, maybe? Is that how you say his name? Those are your 3 golfers that are, have the highest strength of field, or at least go towards the strength of field score. So better than Satoshi Kodaira. Anyways, 1 to 2 from here. And then when we look at the other stats like salary, it's really just what do you feel comfortable playing? It looks like you want a higher 6K golfer, so 1 golfer 6,500 and above in the 6K range. And then you want 1 to 2 okay, so let's look at this differently. 0 to 1, I'm not even going to round up. 0 to 1, 6.5 and above golfer. 1 to 2, 7K golfers. 0 to 2, 8K golfers. 1 to 2, 9K golfers. And 2 to 4, 10K golfers. Now, again, this is just projecting top 10 finishers. And these guys equal 9.79 out of 10 of the top 10. We're projecting. So do with that as you will. I'm guessing we're going to see like 2 golfers, maybe 3 inside the top, inside the top 10 that are 10K and above, but you still want probably just 1. We talked about that earlier. But yeah, a traditional lineup, a 10, 9, 8, 2 7s, and a 6. That seems to be the build this week. I mean, we saw that with the optimal lineups, so I think it's a good way to start building your lineups. And then looking at the last piece here, strokes gained stats. Now, how I do it is I just look at off the tee and putting, usually. I don't really include approach or around the green. They are baked into these stats. So your strokes gained 1, every stat is positive. And we have 4 golfers in the field. We're projecting 0 to 1 of these guys finishing inside the top 10. So we may have 1, we may not. It's a 50% frequency rate. It's not a very high success rate. It's also a 50% rate of finishing inside as an optimal lineup. So, looking at everything positive might not be the right move here. Likewise, strokes gained 2 are positive off the tee, positive putting, and 1 negative stat in between. Could be approach, it could be around the green. I'm not delineating between the 2. I still only want to create 6 buckets per stat category, so I can't really go through all the different combinations. So I do it this way. And we're projecting 1 to 2, or I'm sorry, 0. I'm actually going to round down with this one. 0 to 1 from the strokes gained 2. And we have 12 golfers. 100% frequency rate of finishing inside the top 10, but a 0% frequency rate of finishing inside the optimal lineup. So you got to take that into consideration as well. Our strokes gained 3 bucket, we're projecting somewhere between 2 to 5. And believe it or not, this is also where Colin Morikawa resides in this bucket. We do have 21 golfers in the bucket this week, where we see usually 18, 100% frequency rate, very high success rate, 2 to 3 optimal lineup golfers come from this bucket, at least the last 2 years. And then strokes gained 4, you're negative off the tee, positive putting. I forgot to tell you what the strokes gained 3. That's positive putting, negative, or positive off the tee, negative putting. And then strokes gained 4 is negative off the tee, positive putting. And we're projecting 1 to 2 here. I'm going to round up here. 98.83 is pretty close. I know I went to 0 with this one. We could also include that as 1 as well. So 1 to 2. Yeah, that's good enough. And that's negative off the tee, positive putting. And we usually see 1 to 2 inside the optimal lineup. And then no strokes gained stats. So again, these are probably your Japanese golfers coming over because I'm using only PGA Tour data. And most of those guys do not have strokes gained stats. We're almost projecting 1 to 2, but it's more or less like 0 to 1. And we do have 21 golfers in the bucket this week. 50% frequency rate inside the top 10, 50% rate of being in the optimal lineup. I guess what we can do is quickly look at who some of those golfers are. It's probably kind of the same. I think Wesley Bryan is also in that one, which is just making me like Wesley Bryan even more. There he is. Wesley Bryan. Garrick Higo, by the way, is in this one, so maybe that's a good one to go to there. Yeah, it looks like everyone else is Japanese or of some Asian descent. So personally, I'm not like huge. I don't even know some of these Asian guys, so I can't tell you with full certainty. You know, like perhaps if I knew any of these golfers, I'd be more excited to play any of them. But I'd like the upside of Wesley Bryan. I like the upside of Garrick Higo. $7,800 is pretty good. And hey, we're projecting somewhere between 0 to 2, 0 to 1 of these golfers finishing inside the top 10. Either you take your risk on one of these Asian golfers or go with like a Wesley Bryan or a Garrick Higo. Like I think those are your easy choices. With that being said, I think that's it. I don't have anything else to go over. I just want to go over those the anchor buckets, so we don't have to do that in the strategy video. We only had 2 years of data to look at, really, so I didn't anticipate this video being that long anyways, but I'm not going to drag it out anymore. I have an opportunity for this to be under 40 minutes. That's a big win. I do want to try to get these a little bit faster. So before I go, again, let me bring it down. Pull up the subscriber giveaway. Let's get some subscribers here. Each subscriber over 250. So, you know, if we end the week with 270, I'm going to add $1 for each additional subscriber over 250. So we can get this up as high as you guys want it to. And again, my last preview video had 100 views on it. 54% of those guys were not subscribed to the channel. So subscribe to the channel. Comment below, of the anchor buckets you just looked at, which one are you going to choose to start building your lineups around? And we went over some of the golfers too, so you kind of know who some of these guys are in those buckets. Tell me who you're going to build your lineups around with those. And that gets you a free entry. Be subscribed, comment that down in the comment section below. And if you want an additional one, share it on Twitter. Again, let's just try to, you know, reach out and engage with more people. And again, prize picks, don't forget that one. Link in the description below. It's a lot of fun, easy to make money, especially if you know how to take advantage of poor projections, because there are poor projections week in and week out. Very fun way to play fantasy sports. That's all I have for you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the strategy video tomorrow. All right, bye.